Meeting is called to order at 5 o'clock. Please stay for the Pledge of Allegiance. Or is that how we go? Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
Republic
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and
justice.
Okay, we are being broadcast, rebroadcast live on Van Buren 12. We are being live on YouTube. Our official meeting will start at 6 o'clock after a closed meeting. But at this point in time, we do need to go through a roll call. Clerk Wright, would you call the roll?
Trustee Miller. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
You're on mute, Ms. Trustee Miller.
Here again.
Trustee Boyden is on his way.
He's excused until after the closed meeting.
Treasurer Bud.
Here.
Clerk is present. Supervisor.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and just for the new rules out there, is everybody calling from Van Buren Township, Michigan?
Why does it matter, Kevin? I never understood that.
I have no idea, but everybody's doing it, making everybody do it now.
It's
So-
through the chair, even at our South Huron Valley, that's where we first heard it from the attorney, that they were now concerned where people were during these meetings. So when I call roll, I have to ask everybody where they're at.
Well, that's dumb.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, first item of business is a closed session. Can't get a motion to go into closed session.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Support. I got support by Frazier, motion by Miller. Roll call vote. Clerk Wright, would you call the roll?
Trustee Frazier.
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Boyden is excused. Treasurer Bud.
Yes.
Yes for me. Supervisor.
Yes. Okay, we're going to the closed session. You're going to go to your other links. If anybody is on watching us from YouTube, we are going into closed session. We expect to be out at 6 o'clock for the rest of our regular scheduled meeting. Thank you.
So what happens now? We have to come out and go back in?
Correct. You should have another link.
I never,
Closed session.
okay, I didn't get that other link. So can someone give it to me?
Yeah.
I'll send it back
text
to you, Red.
Text me.
Well,
Oh, I see it. Okay.
we got it.
Yeah, I think so. I see yep. Do you have it?
Do you see me?
Yeah, I gotta come out and, yep, I gotta leave.
Yep.
You too.
Hey, Trustee Frazier, all you have to do is leave this meeting by going to the bottom corner and go into leave meeting, and then join the other one. It should be in your calendar invites.
Am I in the right place?
Nope, you're going to leave this meeting
Okay.
and
leave
then
me.
check your calendar for the other one. There you go. Thank you.
How you doing, Kevin?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot.
Hi, Don. Hi, Kevin.
Hey,
Hey, Sherry. How you doing?
Hanging in there.
Have you looked out the window?
Yeah. How much more are we gonna get?
They saying 3 to 5 inches.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
That's what they said this morning. I don't know what the revised
forecast.
Just what we need. Welcome to spring. My poor flowers.
I'm on right now. Thank you.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, who are we missing? Oh, everybody is here. No, we're not. John, are you at home now or?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Hold on.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm home.
okay. Okay, got 3 minutes, everybody. And we're missing who? Sherry Frazier. Okay.
I just talked to them. She'll be right in.
Okay. Sherry Bud, is there a, you don't have to call a vote to reopen, right?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
You don't have to call a vote to reopen the meeting, do you?
No, you just reconvene the meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
Terry, we do need to make a motion to reconvene the meeting.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
it's on my,
Sorry about that.
it's on my format sheet here.
Few more minutes.
I need a motion to reconvene.
My poor little flowers out there.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh my God. Oh.
Tell him he got charged on all 4 counts.
In 2 weeks, we're going to have the fireworks contract come before us. I've added the cost to cancel it so that you guys can consider whether or not you want to have fireworks. I will state that the reason we did it was because Biden at the time when we talked about it 2 months ago said that we would have herd immunity by July 4th. So, and there is ability to do some social distancing at our fireworks. So the question is going to be for you in 2 weeks, what you want to do. So
Okay,
think about
thanks, Kevin.
it. Okay, that's close enough for me. Need a motion to reconvene the meeting?
I make a motion to reconvene the meeting.
Second,
Support.
Support,
I got support by Ms. Frazier.
Support.
Right, would you please call?
Yeah, trustee Boyne,
Yes.
trustee Frazier,
Yes.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Bud,
yes.
yes for me, supervisor,
Yes.
move back into regular board meeting.
Thank you. We are now at the executive summary. The Board of Trustees has already gone into a closed section to consider the contents of an attorney-client communication. The consent agenda today is brought forward along with the minutes, of prepaid list, and the voucher list. New business includes discussion of a second reading of an ordinance. The ordinance pertains to amendments to lot coverage for industrial buildings. We will also have discussion on a request for excavation, removal, and offsite hauling of soil to create 2 large farmer irrigation ponds. And we'll discuss the 2021 Memorandum of Understanding for Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park, who wish to participate in the Wayne County Local Road Initiatives. Okay, we're moving forward. We are now into, I think we're into present adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Supervisor, I make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented.
And then I heard, who was that? Martin or Boynton? Boynton.
Boynton.
Mr. Boynton. Okay, hearing no discussion, clerk, could you call the roll? You're on mute, sir.
You're on mute, Leon. You're on mute.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to get my mouse to work.
Oh.
Trustee Frazier,
Those mice.
trustee Frazier,
Yes.
trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Boyne,
Yes.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
yes for me. Supervisor,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you, sir. I think we went from Martin last, Mr. Martin, Trustee Martin, did you do the consent agenda last week? Or last-
No, I did.
Thank you very much. Oh, you did? So we're back down to Mr. Boynton. Okay, so we are on adoption of the consent agenda. Don, do you have your schedule in front of you?
Yep,
Okay, would you make the motion to adopt the consent agenda and read the items in it?
I move that we, I move to adopt the consent agenda consisting of board minutes of April 6th, the prepaid lists of April 8th and April 15th, and the voucher list of April 20th, all of 2021.
Okay, thank you very much.
Support.
I have support. Yeah, actually. Okay, I have support. Clerk, right, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Boyden,
Yep,
trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Martin. Trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Frazier,
Yeah.
Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
Yes.
yes for me. Supervisor,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you, clerk. Next item of business is a public hearing, which we have none. After that, we go into correspondence, announcements, and presentations. We have no presentations, but I do have a few announcements. And then we'll see if anybody else on the board has any. First of all, I want to talk about vaccinations, and I think that other people are going to want to talk about vaccinations. And we got to get to herd immunity here, and we have vaccinations now coming out of our ears. Nobody should be waiting to get vaccinations. We now can go to Canton if you want to schedule through their portal. They've allowed us to go to the Canton Vaccination Center. We have the Taylor Vaccination Center, which is no waiting, no meet. You don't have to have an appointment. You can go right in. But better than all that, we have the Wayne County Community College on Haggerty Road and Tyler Road, which is now open from 9 to 5 every day. And they are you don't have to have you don't have to have an appointment, and there is no lines. These things, people, there is no lines at these vaccination centers. You can go right in and get a vaccination. So please take advantage. It's in Van Buren at the Wayne County Community College. Next, I'd like to also bring up that, let's see, that we are going to be having a meeting April 27th for Haggerty subdivision regarding a sidewalk program that the board is proposing to move out. We want their input. We have sent out letters to everybody in Haggerty sub. Haggerty sub, April 27th at 7 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom, okay?
Is that a regular next board meeting, correct?
No,
Or is it special
it's a special meeting for a town hall for Haggerty sub members.
only? Okay, thank you.
And we did send out everything to them, and we will.
Sure.
And speaking of sidewalks, the DDA, the week of April 26th, the DDA will begin a sidewalk replacement project within their borders. They're doing about 8,000 square feet of sidewalk. It will replace, and they'll also put in the ADA stuff for the sidewalks. The work's going to take place along Belleville Road, Van Buren Road, Ecorse Road, Tyler Road, and North and South I-94 service drives. If you want to see maps of what they're replacing, you can go to the DDA website, and it's listed right out in there. Does anybody else want to speak on any issues like vaccinations?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, Trustee Boynton.
if you could repeat those requirements. Now they can just show up at any of those locations, and that's with no appointment, and there's no lines. And what are the hours that they're open? That's what I'm lacking.
You know, I think it's from 9 to 5, and I'm not.
9 to 3.
Sorry, say it. 9 to 3. 8 to 3. 8 to 3 Monday through Saturday. 8 to 3 Monday.
8 to 3 Monday through Saturday at all 3 locations.
Yeah, but Wayne County Community College at Tyler Road and Haggerty Road, right down the road.
Okay.
Will that be on our website, Kevin?
It is.
Okay.
We're putting it on social media. We have been contacting our major employers to let them know that their employees can shoot down there and get it on their lunch hour, or give them a half hour break and they can get one. We're doing everything we can to get the word out. We've also contacted 1,000 people in our database that we knew used to be looking for vaccine shots.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving forward then, we're into public comment. Is there anybody moderated from the public that wishes to comment on today's items?
Not on today's items. There is a non-agenda item in the chat for, if you'd like us to read that.
Sure. You know what? Is it Mr. Wilkins?
No, a Stephen Dark.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and read it. Let's get it out of the way.
Non-agenda item, are there any updates about potential road projects this year? Again, from Stephen Dark.
I don't have the answers for that. I do know that they're talking about doing Haggerty Road again down by from I-94 north toward Tyler, and a couple of other roads that they're a little piecemeal, but I'm not certain. I will find out though, and I will have it put on our website, and I'll throw it out there on social media for the heck of it.
Through the chair,
What's the matter?
if I can ask, why was the Huron River Drive Bridge closed and when will it be reopened?
Is it closed again?
Yes.
Closed till April? I don't know.
Were you weren't notified then either?
You know what? I was notified, and what they told me is they said it'll be reopened April 5th.
But it's not April 5th.
Sorry.
It's not open.
It was open and closed, but now it's closed again.
So I thought it was a typo, and I did not know it was closed today.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's find it out.
I believe they're finishing up whatever it is that they were doing, because they're still running all the machines and everything else. Now that's just a guess. That's just a guess, but that's what they were doing last time.
That was my guess the first time.
Yeah, all the machinery that they have out there, it was running and burping and everything else. They've got somebody underneath the bridge and everything else. I think they're kind of putting the finishing touches on whatever it is that they were doing.
And that's fine, but our residents need to know when it's opening and closing, because you know what happened that day when it opened and you had that accident on the highway. You had traffic backed up. The bridge is closed. It was just a mess. So, we need to know these things. I'm not arguing either.
I understand. I was just giving a response to what you had put out there, which was, what are they doing? And that's what I was filling in.
I get a lot of complaints about.
I asked why they closed and when it would be reopened again.
Like I said, they must have, copied and pasted the old thing to me that they sent me, because it said April 5th. And I'm like, April 5th, this is a mistake. They accidentally hit me.
Well, that was the last time they did it. So yeah. But if you didn't know, then nobody knew. So okay.
We recognize that, because people got a plan for going to work.
Yeah.
Treasure Bud.
There was a notice, I think on Facebook someplace, about April 23rd.
Thank you.
I don't know what that means, but it just said it would open then.
I saw April 26th, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you hear me?
Clerk Wright, yes, no.
I thought I was on mute or something. Dan just posted that it's expected to reopen Monday. Weather may delay it, but he just posted that on your chat.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Monday. Yeah, he gets the same stuff I get, so he probably called when he saw that 5th. Okay.
All right.
All right. Where are we at? Public comments. We went through that. Unfinished business. We have none. New business. First item is discussion to consider approval of a second reading of an ordinance. An ordinance must be made and must be read out. So I need a motion for approval, and it must be read.
So move.
Okay, Don, you must make I make a motion for approval and read that line. This is the only one that's important. The ordinances are laws, so they have to be done technically right.
Discussion on and to consider approval of the second, in parentheses, final reading of Ordinance 040621, in parentheses, number 1, amendments to lot coverage and outdoor industrial storage area related to enclosed roofed structures.
Support,
Who's that?
Reggie.
Okay. Trustee Miller, support. Okay, Director Power, take it away.
Thank you, Board. And I'll show something on my screen that I showed last time to explain this proposed zoning ordinance text amendment. And just one point of clarification, this is to allow unenclosed roofed structures to occupy an additional 20,000 square feet or up to 10% of a lot's area beyond the lot coverage requirements in the zoning ordinance. The roofed structure provision is important because the way that the township defines lot coverage is based on the coverage by roofed structures. But in reviewing this circumstance over the past 3 planning commission meetings and 1 board reading, the township has found that there's a benefit to allowing industrial sites that already have outdoor areas where they store materials on paved surfaces, which are going to be areas that already have some stormwater runoff and are already devoted to something other than open space on the site. There is a benefit to allowing those areas to be covered by an unenclosed roofed structure. So the idea is that we're going to allow permitted outdoor industrial storage areas to have these roof structures, again, up to 20,000 square feet or 10%, whichever is less, beyond that 35% coverage limit for industrial zoning. So I'm hoping that with the review last time and the materials here on your screen, it's an ordinance that we can get behind. Staff recommends this, and I'm here to answer any questions about it.
All right, could you take that down so I can see if there's any questions? All right, does anybody have any questions? I know we dealt with this 2 weeks ago. Hearing no questions, then I have a properly made motion and support. We are about to make a law, so Clerk Wright, you take the lead and bring us home. Call the roll, sir. Clerk Wright.
His microphone's off.
You went gray. You went black.
He's on. Take the roll.
Yeah. Trustee Boyden,
Don, your microphone's off.
Sorry, yes.
Trustee
We'll get it right.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Treasurer Bud.
Yes.
Yes for me, Supervisor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thought y'all could do it without me. Y'all can't do it without me?
No, we could never.
You take it away.
They get a word, might as well.
Number 2, discussion on and to consider approval of the request for excavation and removal of offsite hauling of approximately 192,000 cubic yards of soil in order to create two 5-acre irrigation ponds for agricultural purposes. These are 3 separate parcels. Those parcels are south of Hall Road between Martinsville and Sumter Roads. Can I get a motion for approval?
Through the chair.
Trustee Martin.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to consider approval of the request for excavation, removal, and off-site hauling of up to roughly 192,800 cubic yards of soil in order to create 2 5-acre irrigation ponds for agricultural purposes on 3 parcels south of Hull Road between Martinsville and Sumter Road.
Support.
Miller. Okay. This is Director Power again.
Thank you, Board. And I would like to show just a few slides. They're basically one image with some different information on the different slides, but and then we can take that down at the end of my presentation, but we can refer back to it as much as you would like to. But think with a site of this scale, it's important to show some context. So as the supervisor said, this is a proposal to allow excavation pursuant to irrigation in the area on the screen here.
Excuse me, somebody's got a radio on or TV on and it's playing havoc with this recording. Thank you.
All right, so just to give you some context, here is the area of impact. We're talking about the area between Martinsville Road and Sumter Road, south of Hull Road. Go to the next slide here. So for a little bit more detail, Mr. Dennis Wilkin owns farm property, cropland that has crops such as beans and corn that is farmed extensively. This is the area that is, again, east of Sumter Road, south of Hull Road. There are various parcels contiguously owned by Mr. Wilkin that include roughly 247 acres of contiguous farmland. The 2 irrigation ponds are proposed roughly where you see those light blue or green areas on the map here. And the yellow outline would indicate roughly where Mr. Wilkin's properties are according to assessor information. The ponds would be dug simply to expose groundwater. These are areas with a high groundwater table. And so the idea is that by removing topsoil, there would be surface groundwater that's accessible to be pumped for irrigation for the large agricultural property you see here. And it generally sits somewhere between 3 to maybe 6, maybe a few more feet below the surface, depending on the water table of a given year. And so this would be a readily accessible water source for irrigation. Irrigation for agricultural purposes, irrigation ponds are permitted under the Right to Farm Act. There are standards from the state of Michigan called generally accepted agricultural management practices that farmers must adhere to per the state rules, but otherwise this is an accepted practice for watering crops for agriculture. As you can see, there are some existing ponds on site, notably the sort of semi-L shaped or maybe corner of a stop sign, if you will. That pond is also used to take some water to water the crops on the site. And just for a little bit more information, when you actually go to the site, this is what those 2 existing ponds look like. There's a larger one to the south and a smaller one to the north. There are various aspects of what's being reviewed, and for the board's information, there is a review process under the Township's Code of Ordinances under Chapter 42, Article 4, which is what I'll call the Pond Ordinance, that requires the Planning Commission reviews any pond other than a pond that's used for development detention for stormwater management. Those stormwater ponds are reviewed more extensively as part of a site plan review for a development, and that's handled under the zoning ordinance and the engineering rules of the township. But for all the other ponds, whether they're used for irrigation such as this or any pond over 100 square feet that's used for ornamental purposes, there is a review process that the Planning Commission has to take a look at items such as making sure that there's safety signage around the perimeter of the pond, that the slopes are maintained at a shallow level, 4-on-1 or shallower, and that there's setbacks from septic fields, property lines, power lines, and road rights of way, that there are no surface or groundwater impacts to the neighboring properties, and that soil erosion is addressed appropriately. So the Planning Commission has already taken a look at this request and conditionally approved the request to build the 2 ponds. The Board of Trustees additionally is tasked related to that process with reviewing any situation where there's excavation of materials that leaves a site other than for the construction of a building. And so what the pond ordinance says is that ponds are permitted per these rules, and so long as you're in compliance with the excavation ordinance. And the excavation ordinance says that if you remove materials off the site, the board has to review it. So that's why the Board of Trustees has an important role tonight. And I will summarize the findings of my report that are part of your role in reviewing this. Following tonight's meeting, there is still a pre-construction meeting that we will hold with the applicant and the landowner to make sure that there are rules being met and expectations being managed about the way that the materials are hauled, basically the programming of construction. So that is still to follow after tonight's meeting if there's a recommendation for approval. The last slide I will show you, and this is kind of the bulk of my review. I have a report that lays out the requirements of what Chapter 42, Article 3 asks for. And this is what the board reviews. It asks for topographic information in terms of the depth of the pond, and there is information on the plans in terms of the bottom of the pond, the freeboard elevation or top of the slope, the top of the water elevation. Essentially, the water depth is somewhere between 10 and 12 feet, according to the design that's been laid out, and the top of the slope is a few feet above that. So roughly, there's a roughly 15-foot depth or 14 to 15-foot depth from the top of the slope to the bottom of the water. There is a requirement for 30-foot setbacks, as you see here. This is actually superseded by more stringent requirements in the pond ordinance. And then with this setback rule and some of the other rules I'll summarize here, there are rules that apply if somebody is basically digging a pit for sand or gravel or extraction, for example, where you might have at the end of the project an open hole. And so some of those standards are not applicable here because these standards are superseded by the fact that this is a pond for agriculture. So I'll run through some of those quickly. For example, that no water, snow, or ice can accumulate in an excavation area. Of course, this is an agricultural pond, so there will be open water. That there's fencing around the perimeter of the pond. I put an asterisk by that point because on that point also, because this is for agriculture, the applicant is requesting relief where there's standards that are superseded by meeting the minimum requirements of the state of Michigan under the Right to Farm Act. And of course, filling and restoration. We expect the exterior of the pond and the areas that might be disturbed outside of the basin to be restored, but we don't expect that there's any restoration work where there's a pond that's going to remain open water. So that also does not apply. There's also requirements that the owner allows the township to proceed with inspection and making sure the site is secure to the township standards. There's also a 1-year expiration to the effect of this review tonight. And so I will go back to the first slide while I just summarize some of the conditions that are in my report, or all of the conditions that are in my report. You'll see in my report that I reference the Planning Commission's conditional approval of April 14th. So there are conditions as part of the Planning Commission's review that are imposed here. I've also requested that there's some additional detail on the plans that are included in your packet so that we get a final version of the plans with labels over some of the topographic contour lines to show the elevation on those lines. The engineer certification condition is saying that at the end of the project, we need there to be verification that the ponds were basically built to the area and depth that they were proposed to be built at. Restoration requirements in terms of if there are disturbed areas outside of the pond that are not covered by a Wayne County soil erosion permit, then we will potentially collect a bond or make sure that those areas do get restored. However, I should mention, as part of the Planning Commission's review, the applicant is required to either obtain a soil erosion permit from the county or obtain a letter clarifying that a soil erosion permit is not required. So that's something that they're working on. Additionally, as I mentioned before, the township will be performing inspections. another condition is that the engineering standards manual requirements for construction activities will be adhered to, including that construction activities shall be limited from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The activity that these ponds serve must be for commercial agricultural production as stated per the Right to Farm Act and consistent with the state of Michigan requirements. And I'm also asking the board to consider waiving the requirements for related to the accumulation of snow, ice, and water. I ask that you waive that requirement, that those accumulations cannot occur, because of course this is an open pond. To the extent that the standards of the Right to Farm Act are being met, I ask for leniency on the fencing requirements in the excavation ordinance. And the requirement that the pond is filled and restored level with the land around it. Those are all areas of leniency that the applicant has put as a request on their plan and their submittal to you. So I ask that you consider waiving those requirements. And finally, that there will be a pre-construction meeting to secure the required permits and conditions and discuss haul routes to make sure that there's a good dispersal of the truck traffic in the area and to manage the expectations regarding construction. So that is quite a bit of information. I do also have Mr. Dennis Wilkin along with his applicants, Mr. Kenny Farmer and Mr. Todd Waller, who are the excavators and contractors who will be doing this work. So I'm sure they would be glad to answer any additional questions. And I also would be glad to answer any additional questions. At this point, I'll stop sharing my screen and perhaps we can get some other conversation going.
Okay, as the maker, Mr. Martin, did you have any questions at the start?
Your mic's on. Mute.
Okay. Is the pond is going to be lined with something? Is it a lined pond like with rocks or riprap or something like that? Or is it just a bare hole in the ground?
It'll be just a bare hole in the ground. We're exposing natural groundwater. The ground water or the water table is high in this area, so there's no need to line it. Usually when you line with clay or some other substance, it's to hold the water in to keep it from seeping into the ground. But the water is already high in that area, so there's no need to line it with any substance.
So when you dig this hole down to the water table, so that hole will fill up to its level and pretty much stay that way?
Yes, sir.
There's no danger of eroding the land or surrounding areas? No,
sir. No, we'll put good slopes.
No risk of it. I mean, that's a pretty big pond. There's no risk of it breaching or anything like that and flowing into other property or?
No, we've got far enough setbacks to where there will be no problem like that. Now, if you had another hole that was close by, then you would have a chance of a wall caving in. But with solid ground all the way around it, there's no problem like that could occur.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Trustee Miller.
So, Director Powers, how, with the leniency on fencing, can you give an explanation of why there should be leniency on the fencing and the accumulation of snow and ice and water?
The accumulation of snow, ice, and water, I think it's just going to be a function of basically what they're doing is unearthing groundwater that's sitting where it will be when the pond is exposed. So we can expect that there will be rainwater and snow accumulating in there, and it will be open water. So typically on a mine site, you would want to make sure that a mine operator is making sure there's no snow and ice so that there's not erosion inside of that basin. But in this case, we do want, the intention is to have that be filled with water. So that's that's why for that one, it would make sense to give leniency. On the fencing, there are, and perhaps Mr. Farmer or Mr. Wilkin could clarify if they need any relief to access the pond. I think that's where there is a, like I said, called the GAMPs, or Generally Accepted Agricultural Management Practices, that have some of their own safety standards, to my understanding, but don't necessarily require fencing. So the idea is, to the extent they're meeting the state requirements for those ponds, I don't know that they need to meet the fencing requirements of the township. Just in terms of being able to access the ponds, I'm not sure if they need some areas to be open for access and for the pump systems. I guess I would defer to the applicant to clarify if they think they need that, how they think they would benefit from that leniency.
So my other question is, before we hear his answer, if I may, is how would that be worded in this request? Would we include the leniency? Because I don't want any confusion, of course, later on down the road with this as to, well, we discussed that, but would it be included in the reading of the ordinance?
It's already in there.
Yes, I've requested the board to consider leniency on that requirement in my report. So if the board,
Okay, I'm looking at the first sheet of the request for board action. I didn't see it on there. That's why I asked.
Yep.
But if it's in there, okay. In the initial sheet, but I understand your explanation.
Okay, is there any other questions? I have one. You got track out covered, right? Track out, dirt, mud.
Okay, as far as truck track out, we'll have machines there. If we track a little bit out, we'll have sweepers that can sweep the road and keep the road clean. And if it gets too bad, we'll shut the job down.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to say, as long as the applicant is in compliance with the ordinance and the rules are being met, then I'm okay with this.
Okay. All right. I'm kind of happy to be on the same side as you and everybody else here is on this. Clerk Wright, could you please call the roll?
Yes, who made the motion?
Trustee Miller.
Trustee Miller?
No, it was Martin.
Martin, and then
Trustee
Miller.
Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier?
Sherry, your mic's off. You're muted.
Trustee Borden?
Yep.
Trustee Frazier?
Yes.
Treasurer Bud?
Yes.
Yes for me, Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Wilkins. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. We're on to the next item. This is a discussion on and is to consider approval of a 2021 memorandum of understanding with Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park participation in the local road, Wayne County Road Initiative. Can I get a motion? on that?
Supervisor, I make a motion for discussion on and to consider approval of the 2021 memorandums of understanding with Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park for participation in the Wayne County Local Road Initiative.
Can I get a
Support.
second?
Support.
And I'm going to call on Clerk Wright at this point in time because he has something to say.
Yes, I will abstain from voting because I'm the president of the Andover Farm Homeowners Association, and I signed the document. So I will
yeah,
call the roll, but I will not vote.
all right.
Through the chair, I make a motion that we let Clerk Wright abstain from this item, new business number 3.
Support.
I got support. Clerk Wright, can you call the roll?
On that.
Do you want to?
Through the chair, quick
Trustee
question.
Yes, sir.
I live in one of those, subdivisions. Do I have to recuse myself also?
If you are on a
Or am I
board,
allowed to vote on
member,
that?
No,
are you a board member of your HOA? Are you a board member of your
No.
HOA? And you do not.
No.
No.
Okay,
You don't have to abstain then.
okay, just checking.
Good idea. Yeah. All right. Clerk Wright, could you please call the roll for your issue?
We just voting. We're not gonna.
We're voting to let you abstain
You,
unless we give you permission.
you,
I'm sorry. Trustee Martin,
Yes,
Trustee Miller,
yes.
Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Trustee Boyden, I come back to you. Treasurer Bud,
yes,
Trustee Boyden,
Yep.
Supervisor,
Yes.
motion
Thank you.
passed.
Okay. So we have an abstention, so we're going to go over to Mr. Best, Director Best.
Thank you. Board, I would like to bring to your attention tonight for your consideration the approval of the 2021 memorandums of understanding with Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park for the potential participation in the Wayne County Local Road Initiative. In your packet, you'll see the memo for my funding request, the original scope of work, which I'll talk about in a minute, 2018, the letter regarding the restoration of Wayne County funding, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the memorandums of understanding that were signed by the board members from the other associations. As you are well aware, Wayne County has a fantastic program that some of our subdivisions and associations have taken part of, and we've actually done a significant road project with that money. If you remember McBride Road, the Wayne County program is called the Wayne County Local Roads Initiative Funding. This Local Roads Initiative funding provides money to townships to do road work on local roads within the communities. These are roads owned by Wayne County that are not primary or secondary roads. This funding would not be applicable for Belleville Road or for Martinsville Road. However, for McBride Road or for local roads owned by the county within subdivisions, this road funding would apply. In doing the project for McBride Road, there was money left over. In 2018, Ron Akers and myself put together a proposal to utilize the remaining funding to do some additional work on projects within Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park. We moved forward with that project and got it to the point where it was ready to go. It took working with the county almost a year and a half to get to that point. In the spring of 2020, Wayne County halted the local road initiative funding projects. This was done because the COVID-19 pandemic in the beginning had decimated the Act 51 funding that funded this source of funds at the county. So the county, worried that the money would not be there to fund this project, canceled the project. The 4 subdivisions that were part of that funding were one intergovernmental agreement away from proceeding. So all we needed to do was sign an IGA with the county and we would have a project. We were recently made aware that Wayne County had restored funding for this Wayne County Local Roads Initiative for the 2020-2021 year. We immediately restarted the process on the previous project because these 4 subdivisions were already had design work, had assessments done by our previous engineer, Wade Trim. There were plans in place and we were ready to go. The first step in getting this project back on track and to the county is to secure local match. The main way to do that with this project is to obtain memorandums of understanding for each subdivision that would participate in this program. These MOUs would guarantee that the subdivision receiving the work would pay for their associated matching funds for the grant program. Van Buren Township worked and was very happy to work and receive very quickly memorandums from understanding from Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park. In some cases, some of the subdivisions kept their commitment amounts for match the same. In other cases, they actually offered more. Based on this, we believe that the township will be able to spend the entire amount of money based on the match funding available to it through these memorandums of understanding with Walden Woods, Charter Club Estates, Andover Farms, and Robinson River Park. If the board decides to approve and sign these memorandums of understanding, the previous project will be moved forward with an IGA with the county, and then the township would move forward with this construction. This is very important to realize. Just because we've gotten this far and have the MOUs in place, if you approve this, if the board approves this and moves forward, we still have to work with the county to get the IGAs signed, make sure the funding is still there, and get the projects going. So there's still some additional steps, as well as a contractor will need to be hired and approved by the board to move forward. But in order to make sure we have the match to get the county to agree to an IGA, we're bringing this to you. I have also put into the packet that you're available the scope of work, and very quickly to summarize that scope of work, areas that needed repairs in intersections along curb lines were identified in 2017 by Wade Trim. Those areas were walked through with subdivision associations back then in 2017, 2018. And so each subdivision has a specific set of items. If these memorandums of understanding are approved by the board and an IGA is put in place, we will revisit those to make sure that the work still needs to be done, and make sure that the costs are updated and we get the most bang for the buck out of this $375,000. At this time, I would like to ask for the board's approval for the signatures to sign these memorandums of understanding to continue the process forward to get the 20% match secured so that we can proceed with the county's IGA process. With that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Are there any questions?
Through the chair.
Yes. I'm sorry, you broke up.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. My question is, the 80% of the construction project how will that work with the HOA's director best as when will they deposit that once we all agree, if we agree on this tonight?
So what will happen is each association is going to be responsible for putting in an amount, and that amount will be based on the work that is done, and it'll be and assigned to each subdivision. Once we have commitment that from each subdivision through these MOAs to pay those funds, the IGA will work on the IGA with the county. And if the IGA is signed and approved by the board and the county, we will then have our engineer double check the subdivisions to make sure what work is being done and what the estimated cost will be. At that point, the 20% match for each subdivision's work will be requested to be deposited into the account under the auspices of Treasurer Bud. She will make sure those monies are put in an account and held to make sure that we have enough to pay the contractor the funds. But until that time, I can't give you an exact date, but that's the time in the process. So we could be a month and a half away. We could be 6 months away. It just depends on how long it takes the county to process the IGA and for our engineer to assess each subdivision's current conditions and determine how much work we can do in each subdivision based on the amount that they've committed right now for match.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got a couple HOAs that are going to be able to get some work done on the roads at a decent price, which is great.
Great opportunity for them.
So my last call for anybody that wants to make a comment.
Through the chair, does the
Sorry.
motion have to be amended to say that we've made the motion to consider approval of those. Does it also have to include who signs?
Oh, you know something? Usually it says clerk and supervisor. You're
Right.
correct.
Yep.
I just assumed.
So, I'd like treasurer, who made the motion? Miller.
I did. I
Treasurer?
made the motion.
Trustee
And
Miller,
I'll amend that to include the clerk and the supervisor.
the supervisor and the treasurer.
I'm sorry, clerk and treasurer.
Well, I think I can still sign as long as I don't vote on it. I don't give
But
a-
yeah, how is that gonna work if he's
Can't
vote on it.
recused?
Through the chair.
He can't do it.
The only
I
signature.
didn't- that's why I abstained, so that I don't have to vote on it. There's only.
So I was right. It is treasurer, Bud, and supervisor.
Clerk, the clerk can still execute the document.
I think it technically only has to be the supervisor.
Right.
The
Okay.
supervisor is the only one that needs to sign documents on behalf of the township.
Okay, so I amend that to include the supervisor to sign any and all documents on this matter.
All right, we're all set.
But wait a minute, don't we need a second from
Yes.
Martin again?
Fraser, would you allow the amendment?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Fraser.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I believe we're there now. Clerk Wright, you are muted, but you need to call the roll. Clerk Wright,
Take it away.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Frazier,
Yes.
trustee Boyden,
Yes.
treasurer Bud,
Yes.
supervisor. Motion passes.
thank you very much.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Reports, we have none. Public comments. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to comment about the meeting or anything they would like?
At the moment, we have nothing in the chat and no virtual hands raised, Supervisor.
Does anybody from the board want to make comments? Dan, real quickly, what?
Through the chair, yes. I would like to make a public comment just quickly to let the board know and the public know that we will have information out soon that next Wednesday, the 28th, our Planning Commission regular meeting agenda will actually be the introductory webinar for the Sumter Road Corridor Plan project that we have discussed recently with the board. So we are going to share some information on our social media sites and post information to the website. That'll be the first step of the planning process for the Sumter Road Corridor. And we invite everybody to participate and just know that if you can't make the webinar next Wednesday at 7:30, there will be other opportunities to be involved in this process going forward.
All right. I'm sorry, Trustee Miller.
I oppose the snowfall, period. No snow after March 30th. No more.
It's sticking too. It's
Have you seen it out there? It's awful.
Yes.
It'll be gone by tomorrow.
I know,
afternoon.
but the flowers tonight.
They'll be okay. If they're annuals, if they're perennials, they'll be fine.
Let's
They're
hope so.
annuals, you should have not planted them this early.
It
This
ain't
is
right.
Michigan.
It just ain't
This is
right.
Michigan. This is Michigan. Gotta wait till the
Tell
danger
the
of frost
trees
is
out
gone.
there with, tell all those beautiful flowering pear trees.
I know mine is, I got a beautiful one in my backyard and
No,
I'm crying about it now.
I learned my lesson a long time ago. I don't plant a flower until Memorial Day.
Memorial Day or Mother's Day.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to let you know that Baca is bought a bunch of big fish, and they would like us to put some fish around Van Buren Township that they're going to have done by local artists. They're asking us if we would like to buy one fish, and the DDA if they would like to buy one fish, and they would have about, I think they bought 10 fish, but there's 13.
Can we do that as a township treasurer, Bud?
I don't think.
I don't think we can. It's considered a donation, but I'd be happy
No, we would own
to
the fish.
contribute.
We would own the fish.
What do you mean we own the fish? I don't get where you own.
$1,300, and if anybody has a problem or thinks one way or the other, they can let me know. And the next day, I haven't done anything yet. So, okay.
Okay, well.
What is the
technically,
purpose? What's
can't
the
do
purpose
that.
of this?
It's like a sculptor that you would leave out there for as long as people enjoyed watching it, and then we'd probably move it around and try it somewhere else a few times. And it's more like, get people excited about stuff going on in Van Buren.
But Sherry, Treasurer Bud, we can't make donations. This sounds like a donation.
This would be
It's a purchase.
buying a fish.
I know it's a donation. You
I
can
don't
help
think-
purchase.
We would own that fish.
I don't think we can spend township money that way.
I don't think so either.
You can
I'd
ask.
be happy to chip in with all of you.
I'm sure.
They're
One
rather
fish-
expensive. I
Oh,
have
never
heard-
mind.
I have heard they're rather expensive.
Well, hopefully the supervisor didn't obligate us already.
No, they're $1,300 each fish. They've asked if we would buy one of those 10. So, but it's if you got a problem, give me a call. I haven't bought them yet. I haven't done anything.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. I have nothing else. Anybody else? Nope.
To the chair, make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Support. Hearing nobody against it, this motion passes.
All right, good night, everyone.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good
everybody.
night.
Get the snow shovels out.